I've noticed among atheists that concerns me is really seems like the consequence of identity politics on the left bleeding into the atheist community, or insofar as the atheist community skews left, it inherits a lot of the very liberal and in many cases regressive convictions of people on the left who think that to criticize Islam is tantamount to racism, say, and they don't really think too clearly about that, or that the only reason why, as an atheist, you could be more concerned about Islam than Anglicanism, say, that has to be at some level of an expression of your own hostility and xenophobia toward Arabs or people from the Middle East.
Yeah, why do you guys hate brown people so much?
Exactly.
I mean, this is the sort of oversimplification. I remember it goes back, why do you hate the troops and all these other things that were done in a humorous sense, and now they're being done in a serious sense because you two aren't as ideologically pure as I am, or you're not as ideologically pure as Sam.
But it's not just a difference of emphasis. It is to put it charitably, a difference of opinion about what it means to focus on, in this case, on Islam. But in my view, it's complete confusion about the nature of the focus and what it is that would cause someone like me or Richard to be more worried about jihadism than what the Scientologists are up to or the Mormons.
You shouldn't have said that.
I'm worried about many things, but I'm worried about some things more than others, and I accept that you might be worried about other things more than others, and they're all important.
We're also just confused by the label of atheism. That's why I think atheism is not always the best construct here. If you are, rather than think of promulgating atheism, just think of opposing dangerous, bad ideas. And that will of necessity put you in opposition to many, many, many religious ideas, but some religious ideas aren't all that dangerous, or they're not all that well subscribed, or you barely encounter them ever, right? And so you can't really prioritize those. I am tending to prioritize the ones that are showing up in the news every day and are clearly, absolutely, there can be no doubt about this, and yet there seems to be doubt everywhere. They're clearly the proximate cause of some of the most horrific human behavior, and it is behavior that would not happen for another reason. I mean, this is another source of confusion. People think that the world is just filled with bad people who would do bad things anyway, and they're just finding religion as a pretext, right? So the Christian scientist who is not giving insulin to her diabetic daughter, would do something equally crazy anyway without religion. There's no reason to think that. And
that's spot on, absolutely right.
Yeah, and by the way, if you guys, we're probably pretty close to maybe bringing the house lights up a little bit and lining up to begin questions as we kind of talk about this. But what you're saying, I agree. It would be just like saying that somehow or another, the people who hate homosexuals just managed to all be part of the Westboro Baptist Church, rather than the Westboro Baptist Church cultivated these ideas. Yes. Somehow or another, when we were putting labels on things earlier, it was in the United States. It's not all Republicans are racists or are white supremacists. But pretty much all white supremacists align themselves with the Republican Party. So it would be silly to think that there's not something there that at least waters these ideas and maybe nourishes them as well.
Yeah. And the people tell us ad nauseum these are the reasons why they're doing these things. They're not hiding their motives. So it takes a heroic act of self-deception and willful ignorance to say, despite everything these people are saying, despite the fact that they can point to the passage in the book that justifies the behavior, their behavior is coming from some other source entirely that has nothing to do with how they're
the
accountable.
suggestion that these are just evil people who will find a way to let their evilness come out, and if it's not religion, it's something else. They're not that evil. They're righteous people. They think they're righteous. They think they're doing good. They think they're doing the will of their God. And they think they're going to go to heaven for it. They don't think they're evil.
Well, worse than that, they're actually not evil.
Yes.
In those cases, because they're just wrong.
Yes.
Right? And
You're quite right.
So I think we're at the time where we can start lining up for questions, and until the lights come up and people start taking their places, I'll kind of ramble on this point just a bit more. And that is that I think we can talk about the origins of religion, but I'm more concerned with how religion spread, which is why what I focus on, I don't necessarily go after a specific religion all the time. And of course, I'll get the email that says, "Why are you afraid to go after Islam? Screw you. I've made Muslims cry on my show." It's at least one. But I want to get to the crux of where these bad ideas are coming from, which is why I'm constantly advocating for skepticism, critical thinking, encouraging humanism. Because if you build the sort of communities that allow people to not feel alone, and yet encourage decency and reasonableness, I think you will have a platform that could rival what religions have done, because they co-opt families. They not only take people who are fearful of things already, thank you, and give them the sort of belief that they can get rid of their fears, but they actually encourage fictional fears that only they can cure in order to build their sense of community. It's the line which I've said many times, that people would say, that religion poisons you and then offers you the cure, but I think it's worse than that. Religion convinces you you're poisoned when you're not, and then offers you the homeopathic remedy. But if we can't get people past the fear, the one question I get asked, or one of the questions I get asked most frequently is, when you get rid of religion, if you were to have the fantasy world that you want, Matt, and there's no more rationality, there's no more religion, what do you replace it with in order to give people hope?
Science, art, poetry, music, love, sex.
Great.